May 2nd, 1945. The Reich Chancellery smolders under a sky choked with ash. 3,000 miles of frontline silence has collapsed into this single point, a capital city where the stones themselves seem to bleed. Berlin doesn't merely surrender, it exhales, a final rattle from concrete lungs punctured by Soviet shells. The smell hits first: burnt hair, cooking gas from severed lines, and something else, something the living try not to name. Frau Müller stands in what used to be her kitchen, the fourth floor now the ground floor, her neighbor's piano embedded in the rubble where her stove once stood. She holds a dented pot, wondering if the water from the broken main 3 blocks away is worth the walk. Above her, a tattered Nazi flag clings to a lamppost, its swastika faded by rain and shame. The city has become an archaeological site of its own making, each layer of destruction revealing the one beneath. 1945 crushing, 1944 crushing, 1943. History doesn't wait for historians here. It simply happens in real time to real people standing in real dust. The Keller family, no relation to the famous cellar networks, just an unfortunate name, emerges from their basement shelter at dawn, 15 days underground. Herr Keller's watch stopped on April 29th, but the silence above tells them it's over. His daughter Greta, 14 years old with eyes twice that age, steps over a Wehrmacht helmet half filled with rainwater. She doesn't look inside. The U-Bahn stations have become cities unto themselves. Alexanderplatz station houses 300 souls who treat Platform 7 as Main Street and the old ticket booth as City Hall. Old Herr Schmidt, former conductor, still wears his uniform jacket, though the brass buttons were traded for bread a week ago. He organizes the children into work details: debris clearing, water gathering, rat patrol. Yes, rat patrol. The vermin have grown bold in the darkness, fat on things no one discusses. At Anhalter Bahnhof, the grand station that once sent tourists to Paris, the roof is gone. Rails twist skyward like accusing fingers. A woman named Elizabeth sits on a suitcase waiting for a train that will never come. She's been waiting 3 days. Her husband promised to meet her here when he returned from the Eastern Front. That was 2 years ago. Someone should tell her. No one does. The cellars themselves have become archaeological digs of recent memory. Soviet soldiers, nervous with victory, search every dark corner. They find stockpiles of champagne from France, paintings from Poland, silver from Prague. They find old men with pistols and young boys with Panzerfaust. They find Hitler Youth armbands stuffed behind water pipes, swastika flags used as insulation, party membership cards shredded for toilet paper. Greta watches 3 Red Army soldiers share a cigarette by the Reichstag's skeletal dome. One of them can't be older than 17. He sees her staring and looks away first. Shame works both ways in the rubble. Her father pulls her along, past the Justice Ministry where law books make excellent fuel, past the Ministry of Propaganda where Goebbels' promises now insulate broken windows. They reach the Kaiser Wilhelm Church, or what's left. The spire stands alone, a hollow finger pointing at God or the bombers, or nothing. Inside, someone has arranged bricks into pews. A service will happen here Sunday, Father Georg insists, because routine is the scaffolding of sanity. Never mind that his church has no walls, no roof, no altar. Faith needs no ceiling. At dusk, Greta climbs what remains of their apartment building's staircase. 3 floors up, then nothing but air. She can see the whole city from here, a panorama of absence. Where the opera house stood, where Unter den Linden bloomed, where she kissed Klaus behind the bicycle shop. All gone. All verbs turn past tense. The city has become a grammar lesson in loss. Morning brings the true inventory. The Spree River runs gray, choked with debris the current can't digest. Bloated furniture, punctured fuel drums, things shaped like bodies but maybe just sandbags. Maybe. Bridge pilings stand like broken teeth, the spans themselves twisted into the water. Soviet engineers already sketch replacements, their blueprints incorporating German rubble as foundation material. Nothing goes to waste in the economy of destruction. The Tiergarten, Berlin's green lung, has been logged clean, not by bombs, by cold. Last winter, every tree fell to axes wielded by freezing hands. The stumps remain, each one a monument to competing desperations: freeze to death with dignity or burn history for warmth. Berliners chose warmth. They always choose survival. Marianne, a former schoolteacher, leads a group of women through the streets with wheelbarrows. They're part of the Trümmerfrauen, rubble women. Their job: clear the city brick by brick. She's 43 but feels 70. They form chains, passing stones hand to hand, human conveyor belts sorting the recyclable from the ruined. A brick with two good faces goes left. Twisted metal goes right. Bodies get reported to the authorities, though authorities now means whichever Soviet officer appears most sober. The women don't talk much. Words cost energy they can't afford. But they've developed a language of gestures. A raised hand means water break. Two fingers to the eyes means soldier coming, look busy. A tap on the shoulder means I found food, meet me after shift. Survival has its own syntax. Near the Brandenburg Gate, a market springs up like weeds through concrete. Red Army soldiers trade watches looted from dead SS officers for wedding rings offered by widows who need flour. No one pretends these transactions are dignified. Dignity died somewhere around Stalingrad. This is pure necessity, capitalism stripped to its skeleton. 3 cigarettes buy a coat, 6 cigarettes buy eggs, 50 cigarettes buy silence about where your husband disappeared to in '43. Greta wanders through with her mother, who's decided to trade her grandmother's silver candlesticks. A Russian sergeant examines them, weighing history in his calloused hands. He offers bread and butter. The butter tips the scale. Greta watches her mother walk away with the food, watches the candlesticks, lit every Friday for 30 years, disappear into a military sack. Heritage has a going rate now. It's approximately 2 pounds of dairy. At Potsdamer Platz, once Europe's busiest intersection, a photographer sets up his camera. Soviet soldiers pose with rifles, boots planted on Nazi emblems, grinning for posterity. Later, these images will appear in Pravda with captions about liberation. The Berliners watching from the rubble know better. There are no liberators here, only different flavors of occupation. Freedom is theoretical. Bread is real. As dusk settles, fires dot the landscape. Not destruction fires, but cooking fires. Life reasserting itself in small flames. Somewhere, someone plays a violin, the music drifting across the ruins like a question without answer. Greta closes her eyes and remembers when streets had names instead of numbers, when buildings had futures instead of pasts. Berlin will rebuild, cities always do. But first, it must finish falling.